We are moving on to Topic Tuesday. You can already tell what this is about given the picture. Um, but it's interesting because there's a lack of memory that we often hear discussed within the community. And forgetting to take your medication is one of the repercussions of having this memory issue. I hear people talk about it all the time. I do it often enough myself. I'll look down and think, it's noon and I haven't taken my morning medications because I like to take them with food. And then if I don't take them downstairs with me, then I don't take them. And it's a whole mess. But everybody does it at some point or another within their lifetime of having this. But Tuesday's Topic Tuesday came from drugs.com. And it was an article titled 8 Creative Ways to Remember to Take Your Medication, which is so great because this comes off of the heels of having Dr. Kristen Watson doing a live event with us the week prior. So this is really interesting to talk about and look into really fun, creative ways that you can actually remember to take your medications. So we were looking for you to share your ideas below as well as reading these tools. But when you take your medication on a regular basis, so your body reaches what's called a steady state. I'd never even heard of that before, but that means the amount of drug that's actually going into your body or absorption is the same as the amount of drug going out, which is metabolism and excretion. So that's a steady state. It's a constant flow. And all medications have this thing called half-life, which I'm sure many of you have heard of before. And what a half-life is, that's the time that it takes for your body to eliminate half or 50% of the drug levels that's in your body. And it usually takes, they say, between 5 half-lives for a drug to reach its steady state that we just talked about, or to be almost completely eliminated from your body. Many of us think it's no problem when we miss a dose or two of a medication, but that's not necessarily always true. And some drugs have a longer half-life, and some drugs have a shorter half-life. So for example, if your medication has a half-life of 12 hours, like common blood pressure medications such as lisinopril, then your steady state blood levels of medication could dangerously decline if you just miss 1 day or 2 of that medication, which I had no idea. I knew the importance of maintaining clonidine because you can have a rebound effect, but I didn't even know this when it came to the prills. And I wonder if it's the same with all of the prills that Dr. Watson discussed, but your blood pressure can actually rise if you miss 1 or 2 of your doses of lisinopril, and it could have a lot of adverse effects on your heart health. So this is one reason why it's very important to take your medications regularly as prescribed by your doctor. So if you wanted to learn more about the medications that were discussed in the event with Kristen, that was actually last week, you can go to our resources page, which we're going to discuss because we present it also again later in the week. Her entire PowerPoint presentation is there, and we'll get to that in another day or two on this presentation. But here's some of the ways that you can remember to take your medication. So pill boxes. Pill boxes are really important, and I've been through many of them until I finally found a pill box that was given to me as a gift that is like the ultimate to me. It works really well. It's a big plastic container that has separate individual pill cases for every day of the week. They're different colors. It's really pretty. It's important to me. And it has an AM and a PM. So I fill it up every single Sunday. If I know I have to run out of the house, I just grab that day and leave. And then I've got it. If I'm going to head out for breakfast or I know I'm heading out, I'm going to have a later dinner, I'll just grab that. The problem for me is that I forget where I put the individual day. So now my pill case has Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know where 2 of the days went. I always find them, but I still think that it's very easy to just grab and go. Some people take a lot of medications, and you need to have a much larger pill case that has multiple slots for AMs and PMs, and then others take just a little. And when we ship you our pill cases, they work just fine. So it's finding the right pill case that actually will work for you. Now, there's also electronic apps and pill reminder apps that you can put on your phone that will like hit an alarm. Like, who knew? I mean, but it's probably an app for everything in the world now. And that will remind you to take your medication also if you're really struggling with remembering to do that. Calendar alerts. So you don't need a fancy app. Just put it on your calendar and let it go off and say, oh, time to take your pill. Another thing that Dr. Watson discussed is if you're having difficulties, let's say taking pills 3 or 4 times a day, if it's really a challenge for you, talk to your doctor, because they may be able to switch you to a medication that's only twice a day or once a day. So have that conversation. Don't be fearful of saying, I really kind of hate taking medication 3 times a day. Go ahead and talk it out. Link taking meds with a daily activity. What I find easiest is I keep my medications next to my toothbrush. So as soon as I brush my teeth, I'm taking the medication. Of course, except for those once in a blue moon days that I forget. It's not that I forgot to brush my teeth. It's just because I wanted to wait till I had something to eat. Who knows what the reasoning is, but whatever it is, it happens. But link it to an activity. So if it's that you want to take your pills right after your shower, keep it on a shelf near the shower. If it's when you're blow drying your hair, keep it on the vanity where that item is. If you want to wait till you have coffee, keep it by the coffee machine. Whatever's going to work for you that jars you to remember it's time to take my medication. Also, keep an up-to-date list of your medications and your dosing in case there's any problems in your house, in your car. If you have a seatbelt cover from us, there is a card that goes on the inside that you can list your medications and dosing. If there's certain specific medications that a first responder should know about, you can put that on the back of a medical ID bracelet. Just keep these items handy. And again, ask your doctor or your pharmacist to make a recommendation to your doctor to help you with your medication regimen. Potato. Just ask him. I think it's regimen. Ask them to help you. So for more detailed tips, check out the article that's attached to this blog. I think it's important, and I think it's difficult for everybody, especially if we're not used to taking medications. I will tell you, I'm going to be very honest. I'm admitting this, Joshua, but I take my pills, and then you know what happens? I forget to take my magnesium. I forget to take my B12. I forget to take those things because they're really big and they take up all this room in the pill case. And then I look in the cabinet and I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably remember to take that magnesium or that B12. And then I say I should remember, and then I forget that I should remember. So this is really important article for me because I need probably a stronger tool to remember to take everything that I have to take. I don't know how people that have a ton of medications do it either. It's a lot. It can be a lot.
All right.
So yeah,
Ryan had a point to make here in the last article.
okay.
He says he's always baffled when people have no weight restriction. It makes him nervous, and he worries about uneducated providers. And I said, yeah, that's a red flag for sure.
That would be a red flag. But we've heard one of the doctors that speak on here often has come out and said, I give my patients a 100-pound limit. And the reasoning is because he knows they're not going to do it. We're not talking working out. But let's think about it, Ryan. Let's think about women in their suitcases, even for an overnight. We're probably pushing 35, 40 pounds. Let's be real. Let's not women be honest. You're going away for at least 2-3 nights. That suitcase is probably going to be at least, 35 to 40 pounds. It just is. And we know that we are pulling it out of the trunk and lifting it for, even if it's a split second to get it on the ground, but you're exhaling, you're not holding your breath. And that's the key. And that's the whole point, is that you might have a child that falls down that weighs a certain, and you're going to instinctively pick them up. Just don't hold your breath. And you're not doing it 100 times and doing sets and reps of this. It's a one-off situation. But for a doctor to say you absolutely have zero restriction, I would love to have that conversation with that doctor and just say, what made you come to that conclusion? Why is there no restriction? But that also baffles my mind as much as people who are given, you can't lift more than a milk carton. Now, right after surgery, I think I can understand that. But years down the road, why can't somebody lift anything that weighs more than a milk carton? Yeah. Be interesting to find someone who can explain it. I will look into that. I've made a mental note.
And so as we went into the today's topic Tuesday, the repetitive cycle and nature of taking your pills on time, and Bo's like 11 a.m., 11 p.m., like clockwork.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so great, Bo. And there are people on my board and they know who they are. Their watch alarms go off. They don't care where they are. They're going to stop, find something to drink, and they're popping the pill. And there's somebody else on the board. I'm not going to say who it is, but their mother calls them like clockwork to say, did you take your medication? It's time to take your medication. And that's wonderful too. If you have a family member who wants to participate to that extent to kind of help you, that's great. And I watch them take it like clockwork, and then I start to feel bad about myself. Like, maybe should I be taking medication too right now? I haven't taken mine yet. I want to wait a little bit. And I probably just need to succumb and do it like clockwork, because I did it after surgery. That's for sure. So
Right.
hats off to you, like clockwork. Yeah, I got to do that too.
I said, that's good discipline, Bo. Ryan then says, I have a similar case, but each day is divided into morning and night. I also bought 4 of them, so I do all of my pills for an entire month at once.
Oh, I kind of like that. You know what? You're onto something. And I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that. I like the idea of just doing it for the month and it's just done. That's great.
Right?
I think, yeah, that's a great idea, because then it's one less thing I have to do every single week. It's one less reminder. It's done and I just need to take it. Great idea. Thanks
All
for
right.
sharing that one.
Melissa Yee dropped into the chat.
Hey, Melissa.
Right? And she says, or the pills don't fit in the case. And I said, hey, Melissa, how big are the pills you take? She said, I don't have
Some of
huge
them are
ones
big.
anymore. It was valsartan.
Oh, really? The valsartan was really big. So I'm on losartan, and it's the tiniest little chiclet in the world. It's the only pill that I'm willing to just pop in and swallow. Otherwise, a lot of TMI here. When I take pills, I literally stick my hand all the way in the back of my throat and put them as far back as I can, and then take the liquid. It was how I was taught as a child. And my sister's like, just put it on the tip of your tongue and swig back. I'm like, it'll just swim around my mouth and be disgusting. I can't do it. But magnesium pills are pretty big, and then they take up everything. And a lot of probiotics are pretty big as well. So yeah, not enough space. I kind of like, and I don't know the company, I like the one that you can buy them already prepackaged and they're already sealed. So you just rip the next one off, peel off the plastic, and it's right in this packet. You just rip it off and take it. Maybe it's just because it looks like a fun shtick, I think. So.
Christina says, put the supplements on the fridge. The prescription drugs go in the AM and PM pill box. Have 3 off-week boxes, so I don't have to sort every week.
I like that too. Yeah, I just reorganized my bathroom cabinet, and I have everything that's strictly AM on the left. The 2 drugs, they take AM and PM in the middle, and then the nighttime drugs are on the right. And I thought I was so fancy by doing it like that. I was really proud of myself. I'm all sorted out. Dumped all the other medications that I don't take, and the stuff that I take on an as needed are all pushed to the back. So now it doesn't look like I own a pharmacy. It just looks like I just got them mapped out. But I'm kind of liking everybody's ideas. These are great. It's the little tricks. You just gotta kind of convince the mind. Thanks for sharing that one too. Smart.
So on to the reminders here. Melissa says, I guess I'm not obsessive. I forget and everyone reminds me.
There you go.
She also packs her pills apparently a month at a time.
See, that's 2. That's all I need. And it's now a pattern and a trend. I'm going to go try mine and I'll report back what it's been like to pack in a month ahead of time. So I'm off. As soon as we're done this, I'm going off to go to Walgreens and get a couple extra pill cases.
Pill case. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to get a whole month's worth.
Last final thoughts here. Melissa says, valsartan was oval horse pill. I take all my pills at once. Your throat is real round, just swallow. It sounded like she was throwing together a haiku there for me.
She may have very well been. She may very, very well may have been. Yes. No, there's no throw it in the mouth and no. Yeah. All right. On that note,